more important. God bless you all for coming. I've been doing this a long time. I've been around this bush, as they say, many, many, many times. You know, this political day, and I can't remember ever a thing like this. I can't. You know, a Saturday morning, this is about the third or fourth group I've spoken to, 9/12, Tea Party people. I'm astounded every time. Overflow crowds, people who have never been involved before. It's the greatest thing I have seen since I have been in politics. Now we've got to channel it so that it actually makes a difference. Because you can go off in 50 different directions, and everybody's going, "Oh, boy, this is great. We're all..." And then it means nothing. We lose because we all went off and did our own thing. So let's think about the goal. Think about the goal, and I think we share it. And God bless you for coming today. Thank you very much for allowing me to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Tancredo. Well, thank you everybody for coming. We're going to shortly transition here into the question and answer session for all of our speakers. They're going to join us up here at the front of the room. My portion of our program today is finished, so I just wanted to tell you I am inspired to be here with you. I am blessed by God to be here with you, and I will leave you with the final plea for myself personally, for myself, for my wife, for my son, and for my family. Get involved. Register before the 19th, and the next time you come to one of these, bring a friend so we don't fit here anymore. God bless you, and thanks for coming.
Obviously, we're running over a little bit, but we would like to honor our commitment to Q&A. I'd like all of the speakers that Chris introduced, who are here as our invited speakers, to come up to this front table. We're going to just open this up. And I want to see if Congressman Tancredo's sticking around. Tom? Cool. All right. Let's try and move it along. I hate to keep... I'm the guy that's trying to make the train run on time, so I really appreciate it, you guys. I think we're about there. Hey, Matt, would you grab Tom? Congressman Tancredo, are you going to sit with us for a little Q&A?
Oh, sure.
That would be so cool. Thank you. We're going to try and do this very quickly because we have the caucus training, which is an equally important part of what we're trying to do here. So I'm just going to open it to the floor, and I'm going to moderate. And we have some rules, as you may recall. The key rule is respect. We're going to be courteous, and I'm going to enforce it if it's not. So I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Who wants to start? And what I'm going to do is hand them the microphone, if that's okay.
I have a question for Matt Arnold on Clear the Bench. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I would like some clarification. The 4 judges, correct? They're the only 4 judges, so if you vote no on all the Supreme Court retainments, then you're fairly safe. No one's going to get caught in the crossfire, right?
That's actually absolutely correct. There are only 4 Supreme Court judges out of 7 total that are up for retention this year. They are all bad. So it's real simple. And that little block that says Supreme Court justices, no, 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 and no. 4 times. Too easy.
Sure. Yeah, Nate. Appreciate what you said about the family, the sanctity of the family, the sanctity of life. Appreciate that. Your thoughts on the unemployment, the state back on track. That's awesome. I do have a question though about what Carol Chambers said regarding the Denver Post and the state Supreme Court being in bed together. When you become governor. When you become governor. Do you address this? Do you have any plans to handle this? Or what are your thoughts?
Well, that was kind of an enlightening comment from her, so you've kind of caught me off guard. You know, the economy is what's important to me. Our state economy and getting the energy industry back up on its feet and getting small business hiring again, giving businessmen courage to stick their neck out and start hiring. That's my first priority when I get into the office. So I'm not going to get, some of you are, I love those of you who are reaching out to the media and scolding them about me, by the way. Thank you very much. You're calling me saying, how come we don't hear you on the radio? How come you don't have Dan Mays? You know what? I don't worry about stuff like that. There's bigger fish to fry, and we have a positive message to deliver, and we got to create positive solutions for our state. Whether the Denver Post is in bed with the Supreme Court, that's just not on my radar, with all due respect, but I'll be glad to put it there and then get to it after I get this. I want 5% unemployment by the end of my first term. That's my priority. I'm not going to worry about the rest.
Thank you.
Let me comment on that real briefly, because you're absolutely right. They're literally in bed together. The Denver Post is currently the landlords for the Colorado State Supreme Court. So if you don't think they have a vested interest in propping up these people, you got another thing coming. The Denver Post has been what they call spiking, which is basically news that they put it on the spike. It does not make it to the news. This is intent, people. This isn't about their editorial position, which they're certainly entitled to have an editorial position. They are simply not covering the news. They are pretending that this retention election doesn't even exist. When you have events where the issue comes up, they don't even mention it. They are trying to not report the news, but filter the news. So they need to be held accountable as well. And what Dan was saying, call them, write them, say, look, you can't keep pretending that this issue does not exist. So call them on it. They're not being, again, honest arbiters of the news. The Fourth Estate really needs to be one of our checks on government. They're not doing their job either.
Jeff.
I'd like to ask a question to Dick Waters and Tom Sanfredo. Could you gentlemen please explain Rule 11? How that relates to state GOP and
No.
whether that's been invoked or not?
I haven't the foggiest idea.
Rule 11 is a rule under the rules of the Republican National Committee that allows the state chairman and the Republican National Committee man and the Republican National Committee woman from any given state to sign a piece of paper that says there is consensus within the party in our state or district for the RNC or the two affiliated organizations, the National Republican Senatorial Campaign Committee, which is involved with Senate races, and the National Republican Congressional Committee, which is involved with congressional races, to go ahead and help a candidate. It is rarely invoked. In this case, it would be myself, our National Committee man, Mark Hillman, and National Committee woman, Lily Nunez, who would have to sign such a letter. We did sign such a... Did that go off? Okay. We did sign such a letter in 2008 for Bob Schaefer when it became apparent that no other candidate was going to enter the race against Bob Schaefer. That allowed the National Committee and the other committees to essentially help Bob in that campaign. I can guarantee you there is no intention or even a thought in this election year in any race in Colorado where there's more than one candidate for us to sign such a letter. But Rule 11 is rarely invoked, and it's only done on very rare occasions. So does that answer the question?
In the best.
Okay.
I'm Bill Conley. I'm a long-term resident of Colorado. I spent a lot of time in Colorado Springs. Thank you. Long-term resident of Colorado Springs, now living in Castle Rock. This is to you, Dan, please. You're talking about jobs. One of the major employees in our state is the military. I don't hear a thing about the military. And yet, we have chased him out of this because of our current government. This guy has chased him out here. We have just recently had 7,000 jobs go down to Texas because of this dodo that we've got for government. You're not talking about that, and that is absolutely critical because they generate billions of dollars to this state. They're a huge employer. I want you to put that in the radar.
So was there a question there?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, right here.
My name is Ron Bella, and I've read the U.S. Constitution many times. And Colorado Constitution probably I've read once back in the 1960s before our moderator was even born, so to speak. But I'd like to know, I heard a statement made that court has the last say. And in the U.S. Constitution, this isn't true. There is a check and balance that's called the Congress to exercise jurisdiction over the courts, and I'd like to know when the Congress or the Colorado legislature is